guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be discussing my tips and secrets on how to travel on a budget, how to make it cheap. Now this has been a highly requested video because every time I do a Instagram question video, everyone always asks me like, oh, what's your dream travel spot? How do you travel all the time? Because like traveling can be very expensive. It's good. That's my intro. And Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the cheapest days to book because the airlines just came out with their new deals on, I believe, normally Monday or Tuesday night. And with Monday and Tuesday night next day, they're gonna have all these deals and bam, you get a cheap flight to go wherever you want. Before I mention the websites I use, I just want to say that none of these are sponsored. Like I actually use these websites. First one, to book my flights, I use Priceline.com. Now this website just basically takes all the cheap flights and shows you all of them. There are sometimes layovers. If you want a direct flight, there's an option to choose direct, but you're looking at sometimes being a little bit more expensive unless it's like a common airport. Because I've gotten a cheap flight to Toronto to LAX before and it was direct and it was the cheapest option. So it just all depends on the day you're flying on. I use Priceline.com. That is how I get all my cheap flights. I'll let you know that to fly out to California from Toronto, I pay between 300 to 500 Canadian dollars. So if you live in America, it's a little bit more less than that because the dollar difference or whatever. Just to give you a rough estimate of what I pay when I fly. Now, when you're staying in places, I am very lucky to have friends at these places. So for me, I normally just have to pay for the flight and that's it, and spending money, activities I want to do, admission, whatever. When I go to California so much, I stay with my friend Jessica. So that is how I am able to go there so much. Or the other times I've gone, it was paid for when I went to VidCon. Fun times. Now when I go to New York and Chicago, what I highly recommend is trying to find a friend who is willing to split the cost with you when you stay places, because this will be very helpful so you don't have to pay the full price, because that's not fun. When I went to New York and Chicago, we stayed in an Airbnb. Now Airbnb can be very cheap, but you also have to be very careful because half the time they're like sketchy and the other times they're good. So you have to look at the reviews. Make sure you look at the reviews or you might be getting yourself in a situation that is not going to end up pretty. Look at the reviews, make sure they have high ratings and good reviews. Talk to the person a little bit before you book. Make sure they're a decent person. When I went to New York, me and Shayla split on an Airbnb, made it really cheap. We stayed just outside of New York and took a bus from Staten Island, and it was only $6 to go in and out, which is a lot more cheaper if you think about it by getting like a hotel in Times Square, because that is going to be so expensive. When I went to Chicago, I went there twice and I actually stayed in the same Airbnb just because I loved it so much. It was such a good area, really nice owners, just renovated, so it was pretty modern, and it was in a really good location because it was only like between a $8 to $12 Uber ride to get into downtown Chicago and do all our activities. So I went there twice and both times I only paid with so I took the train to Chicago because I live quite close-ish. I only live 6 hours away, like 6 to 7 hour drive away. By train it was 6 hours and it took us 2 hours to drive to about 2 hours to drive to the train station. So you just gotta look at your option. Me flying to Chicago would have cost a lot more than a train. The train only cost me $70 round trip, and a flight would have cost me like $200 to $300. So you just gotta look up your options. You gotta be willing to sacrifice some of your time to just sit there and go to Chicago or wherever you're going. That includes layovers as well. Like if you're willing to just sit around for 3 to 4 hours, then you got it cheap, man. That is what I do, And I do enjoy doing this because I love traveling, so I don't mind the long waits because it's all part of traveling, and I got an airplane tattoo for a reason. Okay, I've been so good not looking at the viewfinder. I'm so proud of myself. Yeah, and with that being said, if you're ever going to like a tourist place, make sure to look at like the attractions that you're doing and like the deals they offer, because sometimes they offer like pay this much and you'll save like 40% of all admission. That's kind of what we did in Chicago, and I did that twice because I went with 2 different people. So the first time we bought a pass, and you save actually 55% by just buying this pass, because and then you get to do like all the museums and all like the famous attractions that are in Chicago. And I think it was only like $108 or $109. And if you were to buy all the passes together, just separately, it would have been like over $200. So it was a really good deal. Do some research before you go to the place, because that will help a lot. That being said, that's basically how I travel for cheap. I think I covered mostly everything that I needed to. That is the main points what I do to make my trips cheap. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, and I will try to answer them the best that I can, so you guys can have your answers or your questions answered. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I covered most things that I wanted to cover, and make sure to check out Priceline and Airbnb because I highly recommend those. Anyways, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this is very helpful for you guys and you guys can travel a lot more. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!